In this video, our Proxmox series, we're going to install Flare VM on top of our Windows machine. So Flare VM is a specialized Windows-based virtual machine environment developed by FireEye. It's a free open source platform specifically designed for malware analysis, reverse engineering, and incident response. Flare VM provides pre-configured Windows environment equipped with an extensive suite of tools commonly used by the security professionals for forensic investigations and analyzing malicious software. These tools include disassemblers and debuggers such as IDA-Free, Ghidra, and x64 Debug, decompilers like DNSSpy and JDGUI, as well as static analysis tools such as PEBear and Detected Easy, and dynamic analysis tools like Process Monitor and Wireshark. Additionally, Flare VM offers forensic utilities for examining memory dumps, disk images, and network traffic. The platform is customizable, allowing users to install only the tools they need, and its setup is automated using Chocolatey, a Windows package manager. By operating within a virtual machine, Flare VM ensures a safe and isolated environment for analyzing potentially dangerous malware without risking harm to the host system or network. Its Windows-based design makes it particularly well-suited for examining malware targeting Windows systems. Flare VM is an invaluable resource for cybersecurity professionals, providing a comprehensive, ready-to-use environment for malware analysis, reverse engineering, and incident response, while also serving as a secure platform for skill development and training. So the reason we are installing this on top of our Windows VMs is we won't have to move data around. We can actually analyze stuff on our actual victim virtual machines. Okay, before we install Flare, a couple things we want to install first. The first thing is a PowerShell script that will install Sysmon for us. And we'll tune Sysmon later, but basically this PowerShell script will install a Sysmon and a configuration file that we will need to tune later, but this will get us started with Sysmon. Okay, what we need to do now, running as administrator, is to set the execution policy. And to do that, we're going to type in unrestricted. And we want to select A, which would be yes to all. Now to double check that, we can see that we did successfully change it to unrestricted. So now from within that downloads folder, we can run the install Sysmon PowerShell script. We will select R for run once. And there, you can ignore the red text. What we really want to see is that Sysmon is running, and we can double check that by going to our event viewer on our virtual machine. Select application and services. And it'll take a second, it's normal. And then Microsoft, Windows, and then we scroll down to Sysmon, select operational. And you see we're already logging stuff. And it's already 60 events just in a few seconds. So that just tells us we will have to tune that configuration file, but we have it installed now. That's the first thing we wanted to do as we set up our Windows machine. The next thing that we want to do is we want to download some Atomic Red Team scripts. And what these will do is allow us to test. Basically, if you're not familiar with Atomic Red Team, it's a threat emulation tool. We've talked about it in other videos. So there's two that you need to download. The first one is the attack script, and the second one is the cleanup script. So when you run it, you can clean everything up, because basically it's going to make some changes depending on which attacks you choose. For instance, it may create a persistence mechanism by writing something to the run key, and what you can do is run the cleanup script afterwards, and it will delete everything that it did. For example, it will delete the file that it wrote to the run key. Let's check, make sure they downloaded successfully, and they did. So now what we want to do is prepare now what we want to do is prepare Windows 10 for the installation of Flare. So to do that, we want to make some changes to our group policy. So we'll just type in gp edit. When this comes up, what we want to do is disable some of the antivirus stuff, because we will be running, simulated malware, and we don't want Windows to stop it, and it will even interfere with the downloading of and the installation of Flare. So we open it up by just typing gp edit in the search bar. When it opens, we want to go to administrative templates, and then Windows components. Now we want to scroll down to the first thing we're going to do is to stop updates from coming in. So we're going to go down to Windows Updates, and then we're going to go over to Configure Automatic Updates. What we want to do is disable that. So we'll just select Disabled, and then select Apply, and then OK. Now what we want to do is, also keeping the group policy editor window open, we want to disable the tamper protection and any anti-malware solutions. So we'll go back to our tree again with computer configuration, administrative templates, and Windows components. Only this time we will scroll down to Microsoft Defender Antivirus. And the first thing we want to do is go to turn off Microsoft Defender Antivirus. So we'll double click that. We'll select Enabled. So it's a little confusing. We are selecting Enabled, but the policy is to turn off Microsoft Defender Antivirus. So we're enabling something that disables something. So once we've done that, we also want to make sure that we get the real-time protection turned off. So we can drop down, go to real-time protection, and we want to turn off real-time protection. So we'll double click that. Once again, we're enabling it to turn it off. Select Apply, and then select OK. So now that we've done that, what we're ready to do now is to install the Flare, download the Flare installer. So we're going back to PowerShell. And under PowerShell, once again, we want to run that as administrator. So just right click, run as administrator. And in the walkthrough, you'll see a script that will basically reach out to GitHub to grab the install file for Flare. So once we've downloaded it, we see it appear on the desktop. So we want to make sure that we're in that right path. So once again, change users or change directory to users, Philip Price, and this time to the desktop. And now what we want to do is unblock the install file. So it's the syntax is unblock dash file and then install PS1. And once again, all these commands that I'm running are in the walkthrough. Once we've done that, we're able to now install it. That's the next command, is just to run the install file. It is PowerShell. And now it's asking us if we want to proceed, and we do. So we'll select yes. You need at least 60 gigabytes, which should not be a problem. I think we set when we set up these virtual machines, we set them to at least 100 gigabytes. We continue to select yes. That was just telling us that we need to turn off the Windows Defender through the group policy. We may have needed to restart that, but we'll see if we run into problems. Now, this is using Chocolatey as the package manager. So we're going to be downloading a lot of stuff. It's going to take quite a bit of time, and it's probably going to restart the computer once or twice. Before we get to that point, we should be presented with a GUI to choose which tools we want, and there it is. It just popped up. So now what we can do is basically there's a set number of tools that come by default. Those are on the right. And you can choose any additional ones on the left-hand side. As I scroll through to see if any jump right out at me. It's not a problem if we don't download them now. We can always have them later. I think I will install Fiddler. And once again, we're just installing these. These are our victim VMs, but we just want to have a baseline set of tools installed so it'll be easier to do some initial analysis because we'll already have some tools installed. Now, this installation may take up to an hour. So what I'm going to do is pause the video and we'll pick it back up. Now, it may restart the machine and you may have to interact occasionally, but I will stop the video now. And if it requires any interaction, then I'll turn the video back on so we can see what that was. So Flare has completed, and you see you're asked to enter, to select enter to exit. And once you did, you see a text file. So this text file is basically a log of everything that was installed. So you can close that out. And you'll also notice that there is a different desktop screen. If you open the tools folder, that will list some of the tools, and it's organized by the type of tools that they are. We'll get more into that later. But basically, once you get that message at the end and you see that the desktop has changed, then you know that the installation is complete. Now, we'll do this for both of our Windows virtual machines. We will not obviously do it for our domain controller, but that includes the Flare setup. So I'll see you in the next video.